this is Joanne Morgan. I have some kind of preview of my work art creation when it comes to epoxy resin. I know not everybody are the same, but this is according to my own thoughts, my point of view, my vision, and of course my perspective in life. Everything I do that have a connection into my life. I made this kind of epoxy when we went to Utuado. Since I don't have a mold to it, so I kind of like took the skyflakes, you know, the skyflakes cracker. You know, my country in the Philippines, we have this kind of boxes of crackers and skyflakes in it. So I tried to use it because they said that's what's mold is mold. But hey, I've watched plenty of videos out there that they said that whatever sticks, it sticks. That's what epoxy is. And look, oh, sorry for the knockout. Look, and I have, this is a preview of Utuado. You can barely hardly see it where it says the Utuado. It's in Puerto Rico, you see? And then it says Utuado, you see? And it's made of stones. I put in stones. This is epoxy resin, as you can see. That's me out there, and my boyfriend, my love, is Spanish. Look at that. But it does work. So that shows you a little glimpse of my creation. And this one I kind of like made of waterfalls. Again, they said you always have to be creative. So I had to make cubes out of my ice. You know where your ice cubes are. And look what I had. It's made of epoxy resin. Look at that. Also kind of like a waterfalls, and I put some kind of stones and those little plants kind of thing. You know. Look at that. How simple could that be? Huh? Is it that nice? And I have some couples of candle holder. You know, I have some candle holder right here. I made a of candle holder. You see, it's made of epoxy. Well, sometimes they said better get ready during darkest hours. So there you go. Look at that, the spark of the light. But I always have to loosen it up a little bit so I'm not gonna waste my battery. You know, in case of emergency. But it's epoxy. Everything that's stick in it is epoxy. And this one, I have a trouble of making this. I don't know why. It might be because of the ratio of the epoxy for the casting and the hardening, the A and B, because there's always two. Letter A is for casting, and letter B is for hardening. So you have to mix them together. If the other one doesn't, it will never make a craft. It will never get hard. You're gonna stay there forever. You know. So what I did, look at that. You see, knowledge is power. Duh. That's the reason why. If we don't have any knowledge, we don't have any power, because that's what our power comes to, our own knowledge. Like an angel holder kind of thing. So it's kind of like every now and then it's always, you know, flipping around. So what I did, I just go ahead and stick my little angel in there and ta-da, not flipping out anymore. Look at that. Everything in here is made of epoxy resin. I know you guys out there kind of like laughing at my creation because they don't know what it means when you create something, huh? Look at my lotus. And there's another one out there. There's another one that I made. A candle, angel holder. Look. Everything is made of epoxy resin. This one kind of like wasn't really dried, but oh well, I cannot be able to take it because look, you see, that's what happens. I was telling you about. It might be because of the ratio that I put in. It's too much of the casting rather than the hardening. So sometimes it's like that. It's supposed to, it depends what type of epoxy resin you're buying to, because sometimes it takes only 45 minutes, sometimes 10 minutes. It depends. You know, mine, it should only take 24 hours at the most, not 5 days. But look, see, the dripping is still dripping, but oh well, I can't take it out and I'm not gonna go to it again. So this is made of real eggs. And I made the yolk in it with the color of orange and yellow. Mix them together to make it red. Yellow orange. And look. And coming through here, this is my gems. Coming through here, everything that you see in here is made of epoxy resin. From here, this is all epoxy resin. I made this probably a day or two. It's made of epoxy resin. That's why I don't have any more. Look at the tape. I take the shit out of it. Sometimes you have to do what you can do, you know. And look at that. Look at what's in it. Ooh, have you seen what's in it? Who is that guy? And who is that beside of him? Oh. Look at that. Everything else. It's a candle. I'm gonna take it out so you can see it clearly. I put him right here. Look. Everything else made of epoxy. I made this. There's a candle right there. And look. I made all of this. See? All the jewelry made of epoxy. Earring set with necklace. Earring set with necklace. I made all of that with epoxy. All the epoxy that I made, I put them onto my treasure for display, of course. Remember, souvenirs. All of that, you see? All of that's made of epoxy. Now, we'll go to my wine and cause party in the USA. Here you go. Remember when I have some kind of videos a couple of months ago or so about putting the ice, a real ice in it? It's really sticking there, tipo, right there. Look at my pinky. On my pinky finger, right there's the ice. There's a real ice in it. And everything in it is epoxy. And I made the holder, of course, cup holder or coaster holder. Everything is made of epoxy. And look at this. Look at that. Look at that. Made of epoxy. Look at that. Excuse me. Look at this. Puerto Rican. Look at this. Made of epoxy. I made them epoxy. Look. Look at this. All of that's made of epoxy. You want a tea party? We can have a tea party. Look at that. Made of epoxy. And I made this as a kind of a wine holder. I'll show you what I'm talking about. It's supposed to do it right here. Look at this. Made of epoxy. And look at this. It's a wine stopper. I mean, I ain't got no wine in it, but for previous purposes only. Made of epoxy. Look at that. And you stick into your wine if you're gonna be able to find a lid, or, you know, especially you have the cork. So the cork. And there you go. You got your wine stopper made of epoxy. This one, I just have some fun having it, because sometimes that's how can you try to have the knowledge or skills of, let me go ahead and watch what everybody's doing. So I stick a piece of cloth in there, and then it does work. You can stick everything in there like a coaster, you see? And put your drink in there. And this one is supposed to be for Christmas. I just tried again to see if it's sticking there. It's a poinsettia leaf. But then it get hard, and so it's sticking there. Look at that. Everything else made of epoxy. And so this one, the same thing, a piece of cloth, I stick to it in a mold. Yeah, it has some kind of bubble a little bit, but well, nobody's perfect to you. So yeah, there's another, but well, I love my creation. And there you go, another piece of cloth I stick in there. Look at the big piece of hole in their bubble, but well, it's hard. So, and what I did, I just put them together for like a display kind of. And here's a couple more that I do. I started doing the picture frame photographs. Those are photographs of my memories of my family in the Philippines. There's my niece right there, and my goddaughter. And this is my first ever glass epoxy I made. It's made of epoxy. So those are my previews of what I'm doing every single day of my life. So you know that I'm not just gonna sit here in my own apartment not doing anything. You know, always have something to do no matter what. Because that's what bloggers, public figures, bloggers, of course, and look, I put them in my cabinet. Look at all that's made of epoxy. And my latest creation, like I told you earlier, is this one made of epoxy.
Just like iced coffee in the morning, wakes me up the way I want it. Such a rush, I'm tripping and I'm falling. Got my sunshine pouring like an iced coffee in the morning.
Wish you like my blog for epoxy